3, 2, 1. Welcome back if it's your first time. Or no, if it's your first time, welcome. If it's your repeatedly more than one time, welcome back to another episode of the Have We Made It Yet podcast. And Josh, I'm just going to put it out there just because it is a pretty big deal. It's a landmark deal, actually, for us. This is episode 60.
Wow, 60. 6-0.
I know.
That's 60. Yeah.
Exactly. I am one of your co-hosts. I am the actor portion of this podcast, Lucas Ng, and I'm joined by my co-host.
The comedian portion, Josh Yang.
Nice. Yes, he is. And this is, again, the Have We Made It Yet podcast, the show where two creatives and their guest talk about the process of making it. Man, I don't know. It feels kind of sentimental. I don't know why for you. Maybe it's not, but I'm going to ask this first off, as is the question, the namesake of this podcast. Mr. Josh Yang.
Yes.
Have you made it yet?
Wow, this is coming as a complete surprise. I wasn't ready for this question. I think with some deep self-reflection, I would have to say no, I haven't made it yet. Okay. And it doesn't get easier to say. Actually, it kind of does get easier to say after 60 episodes, but nope, haven't made it yet. The summer has been busy with work and other things, so I haven't been doing that many shows. I have one show that I managed to get on for the end of the month, so nice. I'll be doing that. And then I finally released a couple more episodes of the Sleep with Josh podcast.
Hell yeah.
So that's finally back after 2 months off. And I'm excited to see if we can capitalize on the recent growth of the podcast. We're now over 10,000 downloads for that one, and now over 200 followers on Spotify. So that's nice. So continue listening to me read dry things there. But that's pretty much it for me. Lucas, more importantly, though, have you made it yet?
Man, the one day I can get your low growl is when I know I have made it. My goodness. What the hell?
What? No, you had to clear the pipe sometimes.
Gotcha. I thought that was our guest for a second. I was like, I thought he had his mic off. That's crazy. No, I have not made it yet. But recently, within the last episode that we released and recorded, I had another good lesson in this business. It is a business built on fluidity, and although the word does not come to me right now, it is a business that you have to be so incredibly okay with being on unstable ground, because things move really quickly, things that you can't control, and you might just be caught in the crosshairs sometimes, but it's okay. Things are always going to be on the move. So if anyone does want a crash course on living an unstable life, try this business if you want. It's rewarding, but also it could take you some lows, but onto more important things, just because we have to be fluid ourselves, Josh.
Right.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into our next guest.
Okay.
Things are okay. I hope it doesn't come off too dire. Things are great. Things are great. So
they're great. They're just great.
Fantastic.
So good.
Josh, we have a third panel. I know. Okay, so I'm just gonna go off on our intro, okay, of our guest right here. I find it so incredibly fitting that for episode 60, which is a pretty big milestone for us, I think, I personally get to go back to my old high school roots here. I'm so damn excited that he's on the show, as he's such an integral part of my creative pursuits in music, as music, again, was really my first love and my first foray into performing and everything. So I first met our next guest in high school. Long story short, I've always looked up to him as an incredible drummer and overall musician. I remember him doing a drum off with another drummer at our high school during an assembly, and I was blown away by his ferocity, speed, and viciousness that he laid out on his then Yamaha kit. It was incredible. Fast forward a year later, so that would put me at grade 12, I think. A year later, and so he and his bandmates invited me to audition with them to potentially join their band. I think I passed the audition as we played together for the next year. We toured, played shows, recorded an EP, and honestly, it was one of the most like impactful and important years of my life in terms of where I really wanted to end up in this world here. So now, on to our guest currently. He's an multi-instrumentalist and has played in a variety of bands. And his most recently, he formed the Drew McKay Band and has released his debut album, Heaven and Hell, available on all streaming platforms there. He's incredibly talented, and I'm so incredibly happy and lucky to have him on the show. Please welcome Mr. Drew McKay.
Hello. Oh my gosh, I'm Lucas. You're too sweet.
Oh, stop it, man. Honestly,
I was laughing just listening to you guys, and then I'm like, okay, hold back the tears. You're a plus 30 man. You need to not cry the first time you get introduced to some podcast. But I appreciate it. I'm very honored, you guys. I didn't realize this was the 60th episode. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're just gonna get right into it, Drew. So as we start off with every episode, with every guest that we always have on, Mr. Drew McKay, have you made it yet?
You know what, guys? I don't think I have, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Nice.
Because I think you can get complacent if you feel like you've made it, and I don't ever really want to get complacent. I always want to have that last cookie in the jar to reach for. You know? So.
I hear you. Although, yeah, you definitely do talk about like maybe the complacency feeling that you might get after you have made it. I was wondering though, as a simple follow-up there, what would be your it in making it?
I've learned now, because I've been doing this since high school.
Yeah.
Which, as I just said, was a long time ago. To keep my expectations lower and more achievable. Like managing expectations was a hard lesson for me to learn.
Yeah.
So finding little goals that I know that I can achieve, like, okay, I can record an album and put it out and support it by playing live for at least a year until the world explodes. And then, or like I can start up a YouTube and I can do live streaming with my bandmates because I have the know-how and we have the gear and everything available to us. So it's finding those little goals that make me feel like I am still progressing and achieving things in this wacky career.
Absolutely, man. And you nailed it on that wacky part, and also like getting incremental goals instead of like selling out MSG, because like that's dreaming big, but also it could set you up for a really big disappointment. Is that part of where it comes from?
A little bit, yeah. Like I've been blessed enough to have some really great achievements musically, with this band and with other bands in the past. But every new journey has its own milestones, and you can't expect one to equate to the other. You can't play at the big venues with every band, but you can maybe sell out a bar that you really love and have a lot of people there actually support you.
Yeah.
You know? And I find, like, Josh, you can probably attest to this, playing the smaller venues is almost as gratifying as the large ones because you can actually see how people are enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a smaller venue, especially in comedy, then you have a certain amount of intimacy and like you can play a little bit more back and forth with the crowd, and then you can like kind of build more of a like an environment, a show where everybody feels like they're really involved in the comedy that's happening. Like granted on a larger stage, it's like you're there performing to a larger crowd, and like maybe you could do some crowd work in the beginning, in the front, but it's still very obvious that this is a show that everybody's there to kind of just spectate. Whereas in smaller venues, you feel like you can create more of a moment that's kind of shared with everybody in the room. Like I don't know the feeling of it performing like music on a stage, but Is that something like similar, like at a certain point, like the real highs of performing on a stage with music is that you feel like you're in tune with the crowd?
Yeah, definitely. I find you can really generate more of a rapport in
Mm.
those smaller venues and smaller places because you can see the reactions better when there's a group of 100 people instead of 1,000. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in those larger shows, they're absolutely fantastic, but you almost feel like you're performing outside of your own body, and
Right,
you
right.
don't realize how great it is until afterwards, and it's already passed you by. You just want to live in that moment while it's happening, but it's really hard to do so because you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, don't screw up.
It's true.
There are
So,
too many people watching. Don't screw up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of moments and everything like that, I always do kind of like to delve into the origin story of what we see as Drew McKay right now. I know music has been a big part of your whole life from, early on high school to probably even elementary school. Do you have a distinct moment that you performed or like played an instrument that really set you to that kind of stream that you are currently in right now?
There's probably a few. So I started playing drums on that little Yamaha kit.
Yeah,
It's
man.
funny that you remember that.
Yeah.
I've since donated that to my nephews, and they're starting to play drums too. So that's really cool to see. Yeah, my grandmother surprised me with that drum kit
Wow.
when I was 11, just about to turn 12. I had already kind of sat down behind drums before at a friend's house, or my mom, who works at a church, she would be on the music teams there, and I would just come some nights when she couldn't get a babysitter, and they found out that I could keep a beat. So I think that was the initial seed that was planted in their heads. It took a year or two before they were like, okay, let's let the kid play.
Mhm.
Um, because before that, I was sure that I was going to be an NBA basketball player. I don't know.
Oh, that's
with this,
right.
I had a
Right.
very like solidified idea of what I was going to do for the rest of my life as soon as I got that drum set. So I'd say that's probably the biggest and most important. Playing with you and the boys in high school, that was also a dream because I don't think, and maybe you can either confirm or deny this, but as far as a first band goes, it shouldn't have been that easy or that like fun. Like there
Yeah.
should have been more. Maybe fun's not the right word, but there we should have struggled more. But I always enjoyed it. Um, so it, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
band in high school, and then once I left college, that was a big one because I was like, okay, I know that college, specifically the one I went to, is not for me, and I'm kind of just wasting my time doing this when I know I can go and travel and play music for people.
Mhm.
So once I made that choice, um, it was kind of head on from there.
Nice, nice. Um, yeah, I guess just to follow up with that, like after you had set your mind mentally towards that craft of like making music and performing in front of people, um, how how do you think your parents first took it when you told them that you were planning on doing that path?
I got to give my parents credit. They have always supported me musically, like whether
Nice.
it was helping with the first drum kit or like they would come to a couple shows, mostly like the more jazz band, school band kind of shows. They didn't go to a lot of the rock shows, which
Right,
is
right.
fine because I felt a little nervous having them there.
Mhm.
Um, so they've been to a couple shows in my life. They've been to the really big ones, which is important.
Nice.
Um, but they were pretty supportive. They kind of knew I went to college for their sake at first.
Oh.
Mhm.
Um, at least I think they knew. Once they listen to this, they might be like, "What?
Yeah.
Excuse me?" But they knew how passionate I was and like how focused I was. And
Mhm.
I mean, we practiced at their house half of the time, anyways. So they were very very supportive. As was my grandmother, who
Yeah.
um, used to be a touring musician. So like it's kind of in my blood to do it.
Mhm.
And there must have been a certain point where my parents were just like, he's his he's very much his nana. So
Oh.
um, because we were very similar, and yeah, they've always been supportive. I've never heard anything but just be safe out there kind of rhetoric from them as far as that goes.
Wow.
So,
How was it like when you guys were in that high school band and you were starting to tour? Like how was the family's reaction to that, being able to do that?
Oh, Drew, you can go first because I got some shit that I just remembered.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
My parents weren't too bad about it because for a lot of it we did have not a chaperone, but like we had our youth pastor at the time who would always who would come with us. And there may have been a couple that we just like went to the island or something on our own.
Yeah, we went to Port Hardy together with like like Heidi and I forgot his name, but Tim. So I just remembered like we originally did have a tour bus. We actually had a tour van.
The Manatee.
And the Manatee, yeah. Drew named it the Manatee. And I just remember when I told my dad, I was like, hey, we're going to Port Hardy to tour for some shows. He's like, well, who's driving? I was like, well, the Manatee. Well, the Manatee will take us there. But then I remember Grant, our guitarist, said like there's some alignment issues on the tires. And then I told my dad that, and he like got so worried so quickly and everything. And it like put a lot of pressure on me to like not get into an accident that whole trip. But I mean, we all survived and we all had a great time. Probably some hearing loss, but screw it, right? It was some of the best years.
See, I kept my mouth shut. Like about any issues with the van. They're like, how you getting there? It's like, oh, we got a van. Is it in good condition? He's like, it's got plush seats. What else do you want?
It did.
Yeah.
For this episode, I really want to like pull up some pictures. So I want to try to find a picture of the Manatee that we had. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to talk about like the current rendition of your music. Of your music right now and everything. So again, I know from high school you were in multiple bands and everything like that, and you always had that passion within you. How did it come about to form a band underneath your own namesake and like getting like Pat, Sean, Randall, and Daryl all involved? How was that process of assembling the Avengers?
Yeah, well, I can't take credit for assembling those guys. That'd be my producer and one of my best friends, Dave. He knew Randall personally, so that wasn't easy. And I also I had done some like theory lessons, I guess, with him is what you could call it. But
nice.
The other guys, Sean Varro was one of my favorite guitar players ever from Wide Mouth Mason. Because I had a very deep love for blues and funk music.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a lesser known band to people outside of Canada, but to me, I think it may not have been. I think it was with Grant that I went and saw them at Guildford Mall, but nice. I was just like, whoa, these guys are way better than the music they play on the radio. So that was kind of in the back of my head as like a wish list thing. I was like, oh man, it'd be great to have Sean on like just one of my songs one day. And Dave had worked with them previously, just some like demo work. So he's like, well, let's ask. And it was as simple as that. And he's like, yeah, I'll be happy to do it. So like the first day working with him, I was just like, hi, how are you? Can I get you anything? But by the end of it, like we had warmed up to each other, and he was very, very nice, and it taught me a lot for sure, and gave me a lot of big boost in self-esteem as far as like my own playing, because he just was always encouraging me to do more, do whatever you can. Like, why not go for it?
Yeah, I definitely did want to say like those licks that you have on Heaven and Hell. God damn, man, they are vicious, bro. Like,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I hear Led Zeppelin, I hear Black Keys, I hear the Doors in it and everything like that. What really attracted you to the current sound that we're hearing, which is a lot of blues, man? Blues and like a hard rock that we hear.
I think it was so many years of, because I had been in bands since high school. I'd started the one that we were in with Neil. I started another one with my other best friend Dan, and in college we started yet another 2 together, and then none of them really working out or going past a certain point. And then I started being like, okay, I'm just basically going to sell myself to the nearest band, and because I need to be on the road. So I started being a gun for hire, as they say. Played with a bunch of groups, got to see a lot of Canada and the States, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but the problem was all of those bands would fall apart because like one member left, or infighting, or I can't stand the lead singer, whatever the case may be, just crumbling. So as I was in another band that was very much like a fraternity, but they started having kids and get married and everything, which is totally fine and great. I wasn't there yet. I still am not there yet. So I was like, okay, well, I got to do something, because you both can probably attest. It's not that you can stop once you start. Like there's a pull inside that like you have to get this energy out of you. Otherwise, you're just gonna basically be depressed. There's enough out there to depress you anyways. So I had all these songs I would write either for whatever band I was in at the time, or just to get them out of my system so I can make room for new stuff. And exercise all this music, I guess. So I had all these songs, and I'd worked with Dave a lot in the past.
And Dave is your producer, right?
Yeah, Dave Slope, my producer. We'd worked together so much before. I was like, what am I going to do with all this music? This band's not going to stay together. He's like, let's do an album. And I was like, okay. So it was kind of just like, at first, a bit of a project, like, see if we can do it. And then the dominoes started tumbling, and it became more serious. It's like, let's talk to Sean, see if he'll want to play on a song or two. He ended up wanting to play on almost all of them. And then we actually had another drummer lined up initially. But the window for recording with the other 2 guys, because we did most of it live off the floor, he couldn't make it for those sessions. So Sean was like, well, I'm sure my friend Pat Stewart could come out and play Of the Odds and Bryan Adams fame. And honestly, like, it was the best thing that could have happened to that specific project, because he's a gentleman, and just an amazing person to be around. His energy is so great. And like, we still chat to this day, and we'll check up on each other, like, hey man, what are you doing with your music and everything. But also, like, just that driving force as the bedrock to this rock and blues album. It was everything I didn't know I needed for it. And just lifted everything I was doing to another level. As far as like the blues and rock influence, it's just me, what I wanted to do. Like, I don't like being pinned down to a certain genre. I don't like being forced to, okay, we're a hard rock band only. I'm like, well, no, I kind of like some pop music. I like jazz. I like funk. I like, and that's a part of my personality. So trying to be as true to myself and to music in general, like, that's just kind of what comes out. And why stop it?
It's true, just because like, this isn't just an EP, a 4-track EP. This is a 12-track from start to finish, like an hour-long length full album that you've put out for your first release. And like, tracks like Don't You Dare to Hear Me Out, you can definitely see range within those tracks there and everything. Do you feel an added pressure that the band is literally named after you? As like, you know, if it didn't have like that name, do you find like you can be more experimental, or do you feel more actually liberated that the name is you?
As far as the music goes, I don't feel handicapped by it at all. Like, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but it's on purpose. Like, the reason I went with naming it after myself, even just the albums, like, I can't quit myself.
There we
So
are. Yeah.
like other bands can fall apart because a member goes or not, but if I'm naming this music after myself,
Yeah.
like I either stick with it or I stop doing music.
Right. Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the 2-year cycle that most artists are on,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be mine and I'm gonna stick with it. So
Yeah.
in that sense, like that's the positive side of it. But
Mhm.
and as far as like, because the band is different, different musicians completely than what was recorded, other than myself.
Mhm.
So it kind of gives the songs a new spin, and in that way, like we're kind of still developing our own personal sound, and it's
Love it.
ever shifting, and
Yeah.
we have the benefit because of that. I don't, not versatile, but the kind of genre bending thing that I was trying to do, not
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
purpose, but like just the vastness of influence that I personally have when I was writing that album.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
We're not really afraid to go anywhere with our music. It's like whatever mood we're in.
Nice.
Did
Yeah.
any of the recent 2 years of COVID global blues, essentially, that seems to just be in the world culture at this point, but like how much would you say any of that has influenced like recent music writing and producing and developing like those type of experiences and emotions into some new blues?
Yeah. So the new stuff that I'm writing, I don't even know if it's could be quantified as blues anymore.
Mm.
Maybe like a couple songs will still come out that way, but we'll see. Because I'm a different human than I was 3 or 4 years ago when I recorded
Yeah.
the last
Yeah.
one,
Mhm.
and I think that's a liberty that musicians should be allowed to take.
Mhm.
Like you see Radiohead, they're always doing something different with their music. And like I know I know how much you love Radiohead, that's why. But I feel like everyone should be able to do what they want with their art form. Because it's at the end of the day, it is theirs. You have to please yourself first with what you're making.
Yeah.
Um, and people who like it will find it. So yeah, I don't really I think I forgot the original question.
Oh, it is like, during the period of time during
Right.
COVID and the pandemic, it's like not only, especially for artists, I imagine, especially for touring musicians, like everything getting shut down, suddenly like now you got to kind of evaluate what the new world even means for the foreseeable future. And then like I don't doubt there's plenty of like new experiences for artists during this period of time that either motivated them to create new art, or either just like really beat them down. It was a tough time. I'm wondering like how much then during that experience has influenced your artistic creative works right now.
Yeah, I have the benefit of um kind of like a little home demo studio here that I'm
Nice.
sitting in front of.
Mhm.
I don't have drums, which is the one thing
Oh.
that yeah, well,
Don't you?
because I live in a basement suite, it's really
Yeah.
hard. But I know how
Sorry,
to.
I do see that you did have e-drums, right? Or you still do?
For a while, I was borrowing those because I work for a music store.
Ah, yes.
So I there's some perks to that.
Nice.
But I also like because I played drums for so long, I know how to write out drum
Right.
music.
Mhm.
So making a drum bed track is kind of easy to do for me digitally.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not being OCD, which unfortunately happens a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had the benefit of this little home demo studio, so I kind of the tap never got turned off.
Mm.
It went in various directions for sure, and I'm not afraid to express how frustrated I am at
Yeah.
times now. I
Mhm.
think on the Heaven and Hell album, I was holding back a little bit and just being kind of trying to. It was kind of like an identity crisis album, trying to figure out who I was at that moment. Now I kind of know a little bit more, so it's like I'm pissed off right now, or I'm sad right now, and I'm gonna tell you about it.
Nice.
I would say there's a bit of freedom that has come with being stuck at home, and hey, maybe no one will hear this, maybe they will.
Nice.
I don't care.
Yeah. Awesome. I do constantly, whenever I can, go on your Facebook lives and everything like that, and just hear those tracks live, and they sound incredible. And I can't wait one day to hear you in concert live, man, because you guys sound primo.
It'll be a really great day when we get to come out to Toronto and play for you.
Oh, man, can't wait. Cross Canada trips, man. We got to do it again.
I love it. I absolutely adore Toronto.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually noticed the Blue Jays pennant in the back of Josh's screen, and I was trying not to fanboy because born and raised a Jays fan.
Nice. Yeah. How do you like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Bo Bichette in the lineup right now?
A bunch of young beasts. That's what they are. I really like that lineup. I was always a big Kevin Pillar fan just because I love his insane defense, but the way those young kids are carrying a team in the toughest division in the major leagues is
it's crazy. Right now they're like 4th place, 60 wins, but they're 4th. All the other teams are also more than 60 wins as well. It's the toughest division in baseball. Yeah,
I could literally talk about this for 20 hours right now, but I'll pull back a bit. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just almost to wrap it up there and everything like that, I just want to know, what are some musical guilty pleasures you have?
Musical guilty pleasures?
Yeah.
That's tough. I don't really believe in guilty pleasures.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But things that people would assume were guilty pleasures?
Sure. Yeah.
I have a real soft spot for One Direction. Love that band.
Yeah? God damn. Okay.
I'm like, yeah, they're great singers. The songs rock. Late 90s, early 2000s pop. Britney Spears, Christina. What else? There's a lot that people might not expect. I try to listen to as much music as I can, but I have this weird thing, like I'll either really like something or I won't, and there's no rhyme or reason to, like, you could have two bands that sound almost identical and I will love one and hate the other. So it's just kind of a coin flip for me. Sometimes I get in that area where I'm like, I either really like this or I really hate it, and it takes me like a week to decide, and like, I love it.
No doubt.
What style of music would you say? I almost like can guess maybe rock, but like what style of music would you say is your favorite to witness live? Like a live show is in this genre, or like this style is your favorite?
Oh gosh, rock's really good. It can get, depending on the band, repetitive. If I've seen a few in a row. I saw Tom Petty live right before he passed away, and that was probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. So it's really hard for me to see a rock show now and be like, that's just as good. when really it's like, is it though? I more base it off of what the crowd interaction is like these days. Like when it becomes an experience, everyone in the crowd singing along. I went with my brother a few years ago to see a band called Elbow, and they're like an experimental British band in the vein of Radiohead meets early Copeland or Coldplay. Copeland's good too. And just everyone in the crowd was singing in harmony, no less, the last like chorus of this major uplifting song. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Wow.
And being there with my brother was also really great. But I'd say whichever concert the crowd is most into, like there's something about that you can't really deny. Like even if they're like making mistakes and the music's not exactly tight, but if everyone's into it, I'm into it.
Nice.
Wow. Did you in your experiences on the road, like through Canada and in the US, traveling with different bands, like do you have a favorite moment where when you were performing that like you always remember and think back to?
Yeah, there's a good handful.
Yeah.
Not many from the States because that was a rough trip.
Oh.
But like, our tour kind of got half canceled in the middle, so we were stuck in the Midwest and had to like that middle stretch of our tour got canceled, so we had to just beeline it to Arizona.
Wow.
But the fact that I was in the States was really nice and something you don't get to do often as a Canadian musician. I mean, there's a venue out here that was a bucket list venue all my life growing up that I got to play a few years ago called Commodore Ballroom, just in Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah.
The first time it was for this like radio contest, and the first time we played, they were announcing the winner. So I wasn't able to enjoy it as much then because the nerves of like, are we gonna win? Are we gonna be not in the top 3 or whatever the case was? And it went by so fast that you just I wish I could have been in the moment a little more for that. But they invited us back a few months later, and I made a very conscious choice to like enjoy this. You don't get to do this often. So that's a big one. And a couple venues in Toronto that I've played. I don't remember where they are or what band it was even. I just kind of remember like the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we're playing well and they're digging it. You know what I mean?
That's sick, man. You have so many shows already that you're just like, I remember the venue, but I remember the feeling more than the venue itself.
Yeah.
It speaks a lot.
Because some of it blurs together after a while. If you're stuck in a van for months at a time, you're like, where am I? What am I? Who am I?
Dude, I just remember times of like using McDonald's bathrooms with you guys and just going on the ferry and we were like 17, 18 years old, 19. I don't think 19, but 17, 18. But like primo moments that if that was my last time ever doing that, I'm so blessed I got to do it with you guys, man.
I feel the same way. Like that, if God forbid we all had like driven off a bridge or something, like at least it was a great group of guys. We all loved each other and we were having a freaking blast. So
man, wait, was this during like summer or was it during like the school year?
It was during the school year.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I don't know how we pulled that off.
Same here. Long weekends, I guess.
Yeah, or like we would leave school early on a Friday and be like, we might make it back on Monday. I don't know.
Oh, Josh, man.
Did you guys just like you came back from a show just with your friends at high school, and you're just like, oh yeah, I was just doing the show over the weekend in Victoria, and it was just so much work, and the van broke down, and it's like, oh no. Did you talk that up a bit with the friends and stuff?
I honestly don't remember. Probably I was a bit of a wiener in high school. I don't feel like we did that much.
I don't think so too.
We would talk about it with each other. Like that was so awesome. But it's hard to relate to something like that as a teenager if you don't go through it. So
right.
I feel like we had the presence of mind to just kind of keep our mouth shut. Other than we went to the island this weekend.
Yeah. I guess we weren't too bravado about it or anything like that. So no, we were pretty humble, Josh. I honestly think so.
Wow. Well, I mean, like I thought it would have been. It's definitely a cool experience to say you can be able to do and say you were doing it. So like, definitely, I wouldn't hold it against you if you're like, hey guys, I did something cool over the weekend. Yada
If
yada.
you ask our high school friends, they'll probably be like, "No, you guys were dicks."
Yeah.
Just watch that happen.
I know. I'll ask Justin DeVries that.
There you go.
Oh my god. Just almost the second last question. I just had this one set up for you too. Josh briefly alluded to it, but I just wondered for especially musicians, what has COVID taught you about yourself?
I need to do this. Like, if anything, I could have just shut down and been like, well, I'm on a break. But I think I would have had a physical reaction to not playing. Granted, I do work at a music store, so I'm always surrounded by it. But I think it just really taught me perseverance and find a way to make and do what you love. Because I never for 1 minute thought that it was going to be a super long-term thing. Like, yes, things have changed, but I'm like, we will come out of this and concerts will happen. So be ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it just
and just find new ways to create and put yourself out there.
Awesome. And since this is like, it's been, I don't know, maybe like close to 10 years plus since we last talked to each other, Drew.
Yeah.
And we might have to cut this out, but this question is purely just for me, okay? just entertain me. We might have to cut this out. I don't know how it might come off. But why do you think Proximity 7 didn't make it big?
That's a deep question to my soul.
I know.
I go to sleep some nights just wondering that. You know what I think it was? We were very much, how do I phrase this? We had a very unique that we could play to. Like, there were 5 guys in the band. We all agreed on maybe like 10 different groups that we all really loved. And kind of our sound was very much in one corner. I think if we had broadened our horizons and been okay, because we were young teenagers, right? We're like, no, if we're going to make music, we're going to make it this way. And if we had just been like, we can make a really great song that gets on the radio and it's not selling out. Like, that was the thing, I think, for us, is like, we can't sell out and do this style or anything like that. And then, you know, life just is different for different people. I have a very vivid memory, if we're going to bring it all the way back to Proximity 7, of reading a letter that Lucas wrote to the band when he was like going to pursue school. And I was not angry at you at all. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I feel like I have, but I was disappointed because I loved being in the band with you and all the other guys. I felt like we were a great unit. And I was just really sad because I'm like, oh, it was like realizing it was the end of an era.
Totally.
And it never really, as great a time we had after that with all the other guys, it never really got fixed after that. Not fixed, that's the wrong word, but like we kind of hit a plateau after that. And then once one person leaves, another person leaves, and then I didn't want to do it without the like initial guys.
Yeah.
And there was some angst about that.
Right.
You know, we're just being pulled in different directions, and that's fine. That's a part of life.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for going into I know it might not be easy at times, but I legit have that question in my head playing, like what you said, close to some nights. And I'm like, I need to talk to Drew about that, just because I totally echo what you're saying right now. And thanks for articulating and vocalizing it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm always down to like go back into that, because the benefit of time is perspective. So, like, we're all much wiser now, older,
Mhm.
fatter, hairier.
Yeah,
So,
dude. Mhm.
but we all love each other still. And like, it's
Yeah.
whenever I get a chance to talk to any of you guys, it's an absolute joy.
Mhm.
So,
Dude, next time in Vancouver, we have to meet up. Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you gotta get the band back together. Oh,
pretty hard. Some of us are on different continents.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Grant is in Australia. Neil is in Saskatchewan or Alberta.
I think it's the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. I don't know which side.
And also Josh is also in Australia also too. And I guess Drew and I are. I'm in Toronto, but he's in Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We'll have to do it like digitally. We
Yeah,
can.
I know.
This is the age to do it.
It's true. It's true.
I've
I
had
still-
that. I've fought that temptation to just like start like a demo session for one of our old songs to the best of my memory
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just send it to you guys and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about this as a group on Facebook a couple times too.
Imagine fiction versus fantasy on
Oh,
Zoom or something. God Almighty. God Almighty, Drew.
I'd just say what a terrible name for a song. It does not make sense at all. Like we picked that name in 8th grade and just like put new lyrics to it every couple of years.
Yeah, it was also like Majestic was on there too, and intro and outro, which is self-explanatory. Oh my
Wait,
god.
there was a song called Intro and Outro?
Yeah, we thought we were clever.
Yeah. Yeah. Intro, of course, led you into the EP. Outro got you out. It was explanatory, self-explanatory.
Oh, so the first song was intro, the last song was outro.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Try very meta.
My
Extremely.
brother-in-law was watching one of our live streams recently.
Yeah.
And I can't really see the text when like people are in the chat talking while I'm playing, but as I stopped, I flashed just one little title and had a hard time keeping it together because he posted Backpack Turtle. I'm like, oh god.
I think that was me.
Was it you?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I was. Oh, no one but me is gonna know what that is, so I can't even broach the subject.
Backpack Turtle.
Made by this guy.
I'm sorry.
Title.
We need some more details on that.
You need context?
Yeah, come on.
Don't remember. We were bad at writing lyrics and then naming songs, so we either recycled either of those two things. And our lead singer had written something for like an English 12 class, like a poem or something, and we were working on this music, and he just started singing this poetry over top, but it didn't have a name. So like at the time there was a pink turtle on my bass drum, and there was a backpack sitting beside it, so it was like Backpack Turtle. That's literally the story.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't hate on it, Josh. Don't hate on it, man.
Hey, the more esoteric the references, the better. Because those are like real like small moments that like so few people know, that like literally, you know, it's almost like a precious, you know, type of treasure or like experience, because it's like really, if it's something you can share with somebody else that literally nobody else in the world fully understands, because it was just a little thing that would have been, you know, passed over if you didn't pay attention to it. It's like, yeah, I love those.
I feel like I shattered the glass on that, and I should have been like more mysterious about it and maybe made something up.
Yeah.
It's like you guys just found a turtle in your backpack and you had no idea how it got there, blah blah blah.
Yeah, we were traveling one day, and we had to stop in the middle of the road because there was this tortoise.
Yeah.
For some reason, he was wearing a knapsack.
Whoa.
And
Yeah.
we were on mushrooms, so we started writing down everything we saw.
Yeah. I think it was ayahuasca, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I think so too.
Mm.
The fun does not end here, but I do want to go to a word association. But Drew, this is fucking mind-blowing for me, and thank you so much for coming on. It's been long overdue, so thank you.
Honestly, it's my pleasure, and truly honored to be on the 60th for you guys.
Aw.
And seriously, congratulations. I've been
Awesome.
listening along here and there, and I put down
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Let's go into word association from here. And if this is your first time listening, Josh and I, we have our list of 10 words, and it is up to our guest over here, in this case, Mr. Drew McKay, to say whatever first word, picture, or like short sentence that he has that relates to that word that brings up for him there first. Josh, would you want to do your list first?
Yes, I will start off. So Drew, clear your mind of all of the world's problems and troubles, and get ready to just answer it as it comes. So your first word, Drew, is childhood.
Fun.
Second word, banana.
Hammock.
Your next word, sun.
Burn.
Solitude.
Enjoyable.
Goal.
Oriented.
River.
Phoenix.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Like that one? Yeah.
That was very good.
Next word, circle. Why do I feel like I know the word that popped into your mind?
Okay, hold on. Clear my mind. I'm just gonna say jerk.
Yep, it was. I knew it. The second you started laughing like that, I'm pretty sure all guys like in their mind was like, "What's the first word that will elicit that reaction?" It's like circle.
Sorry, Mom.
Oh, this next word is not gonna help. Kumquat.
Fruit.
Hey. Next word, winning.
Team.
Nice.
And finally, finished.
Never.
Nice. And those are Josh's 10 words. Lucas,
Thank
take
you,
us
Brad.
home. Oh, you're welcome.
All right. First word of 10.
I'm not gonna have a drink right now because
Oh, okay. Well, I hope this doesn't stop you, but by all means. All right. First word of 10. Brother.
hood.
Happiness.
Joy.
Heaven.
Can I say and hell?
There we are.
Yeah.
Plug.
Chimera.
Tim.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, man. Wingspan.
Greatest song ever.
Grassy knoll.
Studio.
Nice. He speaks red.
Dope.
Yeah. Wayne.
Douglas College.
Yeah. Did you say Douglas? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, just for our listeners there, Wayne was a track that Drew and I recorded along with our band and everything, and it was we recorded it at Douglas College's professional recording studio. Because one of the people that was taking that program knew of our band, and they all invited us in. Right, Drew? Is that?
Yeah. That's long and short of it, as far as I remember. I really only remember that song for recording it there.
Yeah. So. You don't have an MP3 of it, do you?
No, I'm sure like one of the other guys does. We'll have to start another email thread.
Sounds good. Okay. Number 9. Proc 7.
Start.
And your last word, Drew McKay.
Dork.
Give it up for
man.
Drew McKay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming
guys
on.
so much.
You know what? Since I do have both of you here, I do want to hear what was the story behind coming up with the name Proximity 7.
Oh, well, that's more for Drew.
I honestly don't remember. I think we went through a couple of different band names at the beginning, because we started when we were in 8th grade, myself and the singer. And then our bass player Josh joined quickly thereafter, and I don't remember why we chose that name. I think it was between Neil and Josh that was made, and maybe Grant actually, because that's when the name really changed. But I had just the foggiest memory of that. It was in that age where like numbers were in band names though.
Oh,
Sum 41 and
Blink
Maroon
182.
Oh wow! I guess it'll just be there in the artistic lore that is.
Yeah, I gave up too much on Backpack Turtle. I can't give you everything.
It's all in the mythos.
Yeah. Sign up for the Patreon to really find out how P7 came about.
Get Track 7 back together on Patreon.
Yeah. Drew, how can people find you? What are your handles?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram at official Drew McKay, I believe. On Facebook.com at Drew McKay Music, or Facebook.com/Drew McKay Music. Home of Drew McKay Music on YouTube. We're doing live streams all the time, so that's generally the place to stay up to date with us. I'm not really on Twitter, so I think that those are kind of the main three, and my website is really hard to spell out, so just search up Drew McKay on Google, and generally it's the first website.
Nice.
But yeah,
we'll have all the links down below for this video for where you can find Drew, but everyone, when he follow him so you can find out when his next YouTube lives are, because they are fucking incredible. So the musicianship on all of them, 2 thumbs up, man. 2 thumbs up.
And the album, like you can probably find right?
Yeah, please check us out. We're on Spotify and Apple Music, all the main streaming hubs. Just search Drew McKay, Heaven and Hell, Amazon Music. There might be a couple places you can actually physically download the album. That helps us out the most. So if you're a fan of the arts, please lend a hand, because we really don't make much money.
Here.
That's why we're all constantly making it, because we don't make much. You got to keep making it. So
that's right.
Where can people find you, Josh?
Across all social media at Josh Yang Comedy, and of course, you can listen to my Sleep with Josh podcast right now across all podcast platforms. If you're interested in hearing me read really dry, boring things like laws and the dictionary, I've got a podcast for you. So that's the Sleep with Josh podcast. And Lucas, hey, where can people find you?
Everyone can find me across social media at Lucas John Ing. Again, that last name is just 2 letters. Letter N for Nancy, G for golf there. And if you like what you see and hear, you can find us on YouTube if you want the video stuff, but also on Spotify too, or any places where you listen to your podcast. Give it up for Drew McKay one more time. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Awesome.
You guys are the sweetest.
We'll see you all in 2 weeks, right, Josh?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right.
Peace out.